Dr. William Woods does not need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one because it's an honor and a pleasure to be here and to host this session. So I'd like to just tell you a little bit about Dr. William Woods. He has been with the university for 20 years. During his career with three universities, he has served as a faculty member, a Senate chair. He served in the faculty council co-chair role, and currently he serves as the faculty council chair emeritus. He's also served as the chair of the Graduate Curriculum Committee. Lastly, he currently serves as a professor, full professor, and lead faculty in the Master of Arts, Bachelor of Arts, Associate of Arts in the Organizational Management programs. Today, William will present Harnessing the Power of Care, Developing an Empathy Network. Dr. Woods, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. You have the floor.
Thank you, Professor Davis, and everybody. I'm so glad to be here today. You know, here in Iowa, the sun's not shining, but I think it is shining just because we get to be together. And I'm delighted to be here with you. So, everyone who's able to attend, thank you for coming to this presentation. When it comes to my presentation, Harnessing the Power of Care and, developing an empathy network. There's a lot to that because that word empathy kind of implies there's some type of relationship that occurs. And I got to tell you, back in the fall of last year, I had the opportunity to interview a little over 40 applicants to teach in the program that I'm in. And one of the things that I always wondered was, okay, do they have the ability to relate to our student body? Can they help them achieve their needs? And when I think about their needs, it's really important to consider, hey, there was a model of needs that um, there was a model of needs that Maslow developed, and at the bottom of the model was physiological needs, where you had to eat, you had to have clothing, you had to have housing, and those are some of the things that our students sometimes are concerned with because sometimes our students are homeless, some of them are, and so they struggle and fight to be able to maintain their classes, having an internet connection in a library or in a restaurant, someplace like that, or at a friend's place. And then when we look even further in that, then that kicks in the safety needs, especially if you're like a homeless student. Uh, how am I going to do tonight, overnight, while I'm sleeping in my car or something of that sort? And, that kicks in the love and belongingness needs. And, some students, not only are they homeless, but their kids are homeless. And so they're taking care of their loved ones. And some students don't have any of those things to worry about, but they're trying to progress forward into the future so that they can provide a better future for their loved ones. And when you think about belonging, man, getting your degree opens up doors that normally would not possibly open up for you. And so therefore, now you get a new level of belonging. So going from skilled labor or unskilled labor to all of a sudden white collar jobs, and what a beautiful thing that is. And then the STEAM needs. I can remember when I did not have my degrees, and I was just trying to work very, very hard. And there was a thing that sometimes you'd have it, sometimes you wouldn't, but it's called respect, part of esteem. And then I can remember when I did get my degrees, all of a sudden self-actualization. Well, actually, it was just the beginning of a whole new life for me. And see, that's where when I'm interviewing prospective faculty who are applying for the jobs, I'm thinking about those things. Can they help our students realize the fulfillment of their needs? Well, I want to share with you a little bit about this. There is a what I've read is there's an interconnected or a symbiotic relationship between everyone at the university. And so when you think about a symbiotic relationship, that means that we rely upon one another. It's not just the students relying upon one another's or the students relying upon one faculty member that they have in their current class. It's the students relying on every faculty member. And matter of fact, we faculty members, the only reason why we are here is because we are here because our students are here. And when you think about that, okay, that's a symbiotic relationship, an interconnectedness that's so very, very important that we have to take it seriously every moment of the day. And even in our waking hours, and even when we go to bed at night, thinking about how am I going to help our students? And more so, also, how am I going to help the people that I work with? Not just faculty members, but also administrators and also department members, because there's that relationship where we rely upon each other for information. And in order to be able to fully help a student, yeah, I need the advisors, I need the different departments. And so that becomes vitally, vitally important. So that's one of the things I want you to remember is that there's an interconnected or a symbiotic relationship between everyone at the university. So this whole thing, when I started thinking about it, I decided to read something that I loved. And the first time I ever heard it, it was Martin Luther King on a tape. He was he was talking about John Donne's No Man is an Island. And what was wonderful about it was at the end of it, he says, you know, I have that memorized because I used to recite it to my wife. And so that was part of his love theme for her. And so what I did was I took John Donne's No Man is an Island and I adapted it to the university setting. So with that, you know what? I gotta move something real quick here. So it says no employee or student is an island entire to itself. Each is a piece of the university, a part of the system. If one employee or student is lost, the university becomes less, as well as if the most important member were, as well as if a family member of your own or of your family or of your friends were. Each member or student loss hurts me. For I am impacted by the all. Therefore, I ask not to know for whom the school bell tolls. The school bell tolls for us all when it comes to interacting with one another, that there should be that symbiotic interconnectedness about what we do at any university, and matter of fact, in any job anywhere in the world. So I hope that adaptation, which is inspired by John Donne, who the bell tolls for, is meaningful to you. So here's the basic question. What is a student? And my basic answer, because I like to think, I like to break things down to a basic level. They are humans with needs, you know, just like I showed you Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And what's important about that is when humans have needs, like Kotler would teach, is that those are felt deprivations. That's where they say that there's something missing in my life. So therefore, they seek out using need satisfying behavior. And sometimes when they're doing that, one of the things that they come across is, I need more education. I can't get the money that I need. I can't get the promotions that I need. So therefore, maybe I'm going to listen to what people have been telling me is that I need to get more education. I need to get more training. And so they turn to our universities and we become problem solvers for them to help them with their situations. So they're humans with needs. And see, that's cracking open the eggshell right there. It's something that we can never overlook. It's something that we must always remember because when people are not getting their needs met, then they go someplace else. That's part of the nature of our competitive markets that we're in for education, for automobiles, for prescription drugs, for everything that's out there that can be made or produced, even if it's a tangible product or an intangible product. So they are humans with needs. Now, I'm going to share with you stories of four different students that I came across. And each of these stories is different, but each of these stories is important because these were real people. Now, the first student, this particular student, she had a meltdown overnight. Now, this is an online student, and this is not the actual picture of her. So, anyway, but she had a meltdown overnight in one of my classes. And what happened was she was dealing with Minitab and she couldn't figure it out. And she sent me many emails throughout the night. And the thing was I was in bed, I was sleeping, so I wasn't aware of her emails. I had my laptop turned off. But then when I got up in the morning and I saw all of her emails, one of the things that I did was I got online with her and I got her phone number and I called her and I asked her to let's go ahead and talk about this. And why don't you explain the difficult point that you're stuck on? And so we went through it and she started sharing with me and she was frustrated to no end. It had destroyed her night's sleep. But I asked her, let's take a minute. Let's slow way down and let's go through this step by step. So I don't know if she had high blood pressure or whatever. I know she had high anxiety at that point. So we needed to slow down and I needed to make sure that I was using a calming tone with her so that I didn't get frustrated and I didn't say anything or wouldn't say anything that would frustrate her even that much more. Well, after we went through it for a while, she started to calm down and we did a couple problems together and she started seeing what had happened. And the biggest thing that happened was she missed one line of instruction. And with missing that one line of instruction, things went awry. And so that led her into not being able to figure out, and she didn't know where to backtrack to. But her and I together, being team together, that symbiotic relationship, that interconnectedness, all of a sudden, the two of us were able to come about a solution for her, and she was happy at the end. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, direct. This doesn't happen with every student every time. But man, it feels good when it does happen with a student who is having such a challenge. Well, I'm going to move on to the second student. This second student needed a laptop. And what was interesting about this was I was a chapter advisor for Golden Key International Honor Society for the university. And this particular student went with me along with a bunch of other students to some of their conferences. And while we were at the conference, one of the things that I noticed was that she was poorly dressed. However, she was dressed according to what her income could afford her. Well, while we were at the conference, she came up to me and she said, Dr. Woods, my laptop has crashed. And so I checked out her laptop. I tried to get it to reboot. And I mean, her laptop was dead. And so after we got done with the conference, I told her, I said, give me a chance to work on this and see what I can come up with. And what I did was we had a program at the time where we had some laptops that we could actually use. And what was amazing was I went to the president of the university and I said, this is a good student and this student needs our help. And I said, do you think that some way, somehow we can get her one of these spare laptops so that she can continue on in her program? Remember, students are looking to graduate. They're looking to work from one class, that's retention, to the next class, that's progression. and then to graduation. They don't want to be lost. They have their needs, they have their goals, they have their wants, and they, with each class they get closer and closer to seeing those needs be met. And now she hit the wall, the student hit the wall, metaphorically. She her laptop went belly up. And it's like, what was she going to do? Well, amazingly, the president made sure that she got another laptop, one of our spares. And the student was very, very happy. Now, think about the students who have things like that happen, and all of a sudden they're telling other people about how good they were treated here at this university or at your university if you're a guest here. And that all of a sudden someone saw her need and someone had took the time to all of a sudden meet that need for them so that they can continue on the path that they needed to be on. Well, here's the next student. This is one of the toughest students that I ever dealt with. And the reason why I say that, she was fighting to finish. This student had cancer. This is not a picture of her. This is a stock picture. But the student had cancer and she was working so hard to go from class to class, which is progression. And she didn't know if she could make it. And I would meet with her on the phone and I would meet with her husband and I would talk with them. And one day she asked me to pray for her. And I said, most certainly I'll pray for you. And so I spent time praying for her, and we'd have more calls, and I would go ahead and pray for her because that's what she wanted. That's what she needed at that time to bolster her strength. Remember, this is a physiological need, and this is actually also a safety need because she didn't want this thing knocking her out. She didn't want this thing taking her under. She had the goal, and she could see where she was closing in on it. And she did not want to end up out of school. And it was amazing to sit and listen to her and her husband, and he was so highly supportive of her. But during the process, I started noticing that her voice began to weaken. Her concentration started to lessen, but she still had hope. And that's one of the things I really want to share with you. And that's why I said she was one of the toughest students I had ever been a part of in her life. Well, it did come to that day when she could no longer call in, and I could not get a hold of her. And the cancer became too much. And so she wasn't one that could finish at that time. But she was such an inspiring example because, we as faculty and we as staff, we as administrators, we've heard so many different excuses from students about something that's happening in their lives. And we know that some students are fighting multiple conditions that aren't just physical. Some students are working two, maybe three jobs. Some students have multiple children. Some students have aging parents, and some of those have parents that aren't in the healthiest conditions. But these students are in the fight. They're in this relationship with us, and we're in that relationship with them, and they are hanging in there. And it's amazing. It's wonderful when a student comes with one excuse. I've had students who have actually had multiple family members pass away in just one 5 to 6 week period. And yet they were trying to hang in there and do the right thing by their family and also do the right thing by themselves. So here's my last story. This little story is a little bit more upbeat, and I didn't address this as needs, I addressed it more like a want. Sometimes students want to get married. This is Willie Cappy and his wife Morgan Cappy, and they came up to me and they said, Dr. Woods, because they knew I was ordained, and they said, would you officiate our wedding? And so I did the work that I needed to do with the state so far as getting the license that they were going to need, and they secured the place that they were going to get married, and that was wonderful. And man, they had family from many different countries around the world because, Willie, we call him the Frenchman, but Willie's family was actually from Africa. And Willie had made relationships through playing soccer and players that were from other countries and everything. And so he had quite the following, and so did she. And so it was amazing that they chose me. I was humbled by that. And then to see this whole day come off because it rained the day before, and then that day, everything worked out just right. The sun was shining, all the tuxes, everything was there. The food was wonderful. The dance was fantastic, and the couple was more than happy. And it's something that still sparks my heart. So see, our students have many, many different needs and wants, and we just have to always take each and every relationship seriously and take it to heart and know that as we interact with them, we could be making lasting impact for them that causes them to turn back to us on a myriad of things. Never know what it is. Well, when you think about empathy, we faculty, we also have our needs. And what's a faculty member? A faculty member is basically a human with needs. And I like to say that because we could take the title faculty and say, well, you're a faculty member. And sometimes, in higher education, you can be judged. You're a faculty member. You're an associate faculty member. You're an adjunct faculty member. You're not as important as our full-time faculty members. You're not a full professor. You're not an associate professor. You're only an assistant professor. I mean, we can judge in so many different ways, but then when you break all of that down, what they actually are human beings with needs. They're also going through that basic model of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and trying to get those needs met in their lives. So, one of the things that I like to encourage people to do, and that's one of the purposes of this particular presentation, is to everybody get your own empathy network. You never know when you're going to need that empathy network. People who actually understand you as a staff member, understand you as an administrator, or understand you as a faculty member. And see, I have mine, and that's these four people here. Some of them I've known for decades, and then some of them I've known for just a few years. But each one of them has sown into my life and has helped me when I needed it most. Dr. Charlie Minnick, Dr. James Moore, Dr. Stephanie Held Fisher, and Dr. Breon Askett. I need to tell you a little bit more about them, okay? So when I think about Dr. Charlie Minnick, the care provided by the division associate dean. I mean, that's huge. Wait, he had time for me, and that may not sound like much. I mean, that's his job, right? But you can tell when someone is going beyond their job and doing what's not in the contract, but doing what's in their heart, which is significant. And then this next one, Dr. James Moore, and he's a department head. And to think that every week he and I talk on Fridays. And so over the years, we've gotten to know each other. And, you know, I always ask him how his dad is doing, how his sons are doing, how his wife is doing, and he's asking me how my wife is doing. And he goes to coffee on a given day, and I try to check in with him before he goes with coffee, and he usually checks in with me first. And what's crazy about this, because I'm going to start work at 7 a.m. in the morning. Well, he's up at 5 a.m. and, saying, Happy Friday, sir. Have a good day. And, shining that little bit of light into my life, man, it helps me to start that day on a high note. And that day that I can also share with other people because starting out positive is a way to finish positive. And then this next person, Dr. Stephanie Held Fisher, care provided by the program chair. What's important about her is that, I was going through some stuff, and what I was going through was that my mother was dying, and she was in her last days. And I told Charlie about it, Dr. Dr. Minnick, and I had told also the rest of the people in my care network. And so when it comes to that and telling them, I finally got to Dr. Stephanie Held Fisher, and I was doing a lot of work. And she said to me, Didn't you know that Charlie has already intervened to help you with your situation? I said, He did? Yeah, we've talked about that, and we're making space for you. And I thought, making space for me, helping me out. And it was at a time when I needed it the most. You know, what happened was I started crying online in front of Stephanie Held Fisher. And I was working hard to get it back under control, but to have that type of relief when I was just basically emotionally holding it together. And she broke through, and so did Dr. Charlie Minnick break through for me, which was amazing for me. Dr. James Moore, he broke through for me also. But another person who also broke through for me is Dr. Breon Haskett. He's only been here less than 2 years. One of the ways that he broke through for me was we talked to each other virtually almost every day. And what's amazing is he'll tell me, Hey, I'm praying for you, man. And what's amazing for me is that I can count on that from him, and he's always got an encouraging word. Well, here's what my final situation was. I was told, I was told by the University of Iowa Hospital and by Genesis East Hospital that I was going blind. And they sent me to that hospital. And when they sent me to that one, then they sent me in an ambulance up to the University of Iowa Hospital. I was actually starting to also lose control of my left leg, and it was getting very painful, and it wasn't sciatica. There was something else going on there. And I had trouble with my memory at that point because everything was hitting me all at the same time. And so they were trying to work out a solution and everything. And so when I finally got out of the hospital and was able to rest up, I got to talk to Charlie. I got to talk to Breon. I got to talk to Stephanie. And I got to talk to James and tell them where I was in the situation. And they made sure I still had some time off so that I could go through the recovery and everything. And then they brought me back at the speed that I needed to come back. And so to have people like that understanding my need and realizing that, hey, faculty members and administrators and department members, everybody needs care. Now they were helping me, which was wonderful. Well, I'm going to close out. And the last thing I want you guys to see is that when you think about students, students need to graduate. You should think about that from the very beginning when we first do an intake on a student, interviewing them and then placing them in our programs to everybody that they come across. So that as this interconnected association, this symbiotic association occurs, we students and everyone else that's a part of this university will remember for whom the bell tolls. So, with that, any questions? Any that you have for me? I'm ready to answer them. That's when I had hair, that picture.
Any questions for Dr. Woods? You can write them in the chat if you'd like to even just comment. Very heartfelt talk. Thank you, William. And here's a comment here from Marie Henderson. Thank you, Dr. Woods. Many powerful words and stories you shared. Charles Holmes, thank you. Amazing stories. I agree with that. Just wonderful. And you're showing how lives touch you and you touch lives. I can appreciate everything you said. But any questions anybody want to ask? We got Dr. Beatrice here. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. You were so here, very nice. You were so helpful to me when my husband died, caring and always available. Beautiful, William and Beatrice. Nice relationship. A nice comment by our dean, Tony Farrell. Thank you for your vulnerability. Much appreciated, William. Very nice comment. Dr. Pete Lamone, thank you for sharing such powerful stories and insights. Your perspective on empathy, interconnectedness, truly understanding students as humans, that comes across with needs that are both meaningful and inspiring. So, very nice comment. Brian Haskett is in the audience here, one of your network. Terrific and inspiring, Dr. Woods. I agree. Deborah Carpenter, you've encouraged me to reflect upon and show gratitude for my own empathy network. William, you want to say anything about some of these comments?
That's actually humbling, your responses, and so I'm very, very happy about that. And I, being here 20 years, so many people have touched my life. And throughout higher education, as I've worked for 3 different universities, so many people have touched my life. And when I was a student, so many people had touched my life. Father Terry Lansgard, when I first started in my college degree to work on it, and he bought my books. St. Ambrose University, when I was going there, they were listening to some of my presentations, attending my classes, the administrators were, and then one day they walked up to me and says, "We want you to teach for us. And matter of fact, we're going to pay for your master's degree." And to have them so into my life. So the reason why I'm bringing that up to you guys is I've had many examples that people have set for me. And so that's part of the culture of care that I talked about. Not only this university, but not only this industry, but also industries across the country. And as some of our students have gone on to live in other countries around the world, a culture of care. Hopefully that our graduates will take and spread that. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and I can really appreciate how you put the focus on Maslow's model because that is so true in any program, any organization. I mean, people have needs in to get to the next level in the pyramid. So I thought you brought that out very clear and great clarity. So thank you, William. Appreciate that very much. So any other final thoughts or comments? William, just a couple words you want to leave us with here. Marie Henderson, beautiful here. So true. Dr. Woods, we need to remember that we could be an example for someone. You're leading by example here. Someone who has never had an example of care and compassion. Very nice. Chris Tex commented, excellent discussion. Thank you for helping us grow. Thank you for pouring into us. You're filling our cup and you're helping us see even deeper into our culture and you're helping us shape our culture of care. So thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I'll share one last thing, unless you guys want to talk to me more. Many years ago, I was asked when I was assistant professor at St. Ambrose University, that's in the city that I live in now. Um, what is it that is meaningful about higher education to you? I said, well, with higher education, the one thing that drives me is that if I know a person more than 2 years, at that point, I should begin to love them. And so that's my goal, is to actually love people. And if you ask Charlie Minnick, I've told him that I love him. If you ask James Moore, I've told him that I love him. If you ask Stephanie Held Fisher, I've told her that I love her. And if you ask Breon Haskett, I've told him that I love you. You know, what's great is that they've said the same thing back to me. And I know those are people of great heart. And so let's become people of great heart and let's live it out.
Okay. Well, listen, everybody, thank
I
you.
told Bill that also,
There you go.
and he said it to me.
And you continue to move forward and get on top. You're a very resilient individual. We appreciate you. This whole culture appreciates you, and you have just a fantastic reputation everywhere. So, and that follows you throughout your career. So keep it up. Keep lifting us all, and we are here for you. So thank you, William. Very, very, very heartfelt today. Thank you. And let's keep on connecting and moving forward for our students, for everyone, for all of our stakeholders. We are one big system and one team better together. Thank you, everyone, for attending.